Start Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
What up, folks? Roland Martin here. Today is Friday, March 25th, 2022. Yes, I am driving massive traffic here in D.C., so we don't let one monkey stop the show. Coming up today on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Breaking news, after 2 years, the Black News Channel is shutting down. I will tell you what happened, what went down that led to this decision today, and will the billionaire owner of the network, Shahid Khan, will he pay his employees for their work for the last 2 weeks? I'll give you all the latest news on that. Also on today's show, a Florida girl was expelled from a prestigious school in that particular state. She and her mom will join us. She was attacked by 2 white students, yet she was the one that got expelled. Also, what's the latest in Mason, Tennessee? Will the Tennessee controller take over the finances of this majority Black town? We'll talk with the vice mayor about that particular issue as well. Also, we got Education Matters. A lot of things we're going to talk about on today's show. Folks, it is time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, she is an honor student, an excellent student, a stellar basketball player. So why is Aaliyah Perry expelled from the Montverde Academy in Florida, folks? This is an exclusive story. She got into a confrontation with 2 white students. The white students came at her first. Why are they still there? And she has been suspended. This story has captured the attention of lots of folks. There also is a video of the incident. Yet, why are we not actually seeing that particular video? Joining us right now is Aaliyah. She joins us right now along with her mother, Angelia Alexander from Winter Garden, Florida. Glad to have both of you here for this exclusive interview. So, Aaliyah, okay, walk people through exactly what happened to you. When did this happen? What were the circumstances around you being attacked by these 2 white students?
So it started on a Tuesday. And, me and a couple of friends were just sitting around talking in the student center. And let me remind you, it's packed. It's a bunch of games going on, lots of people talking and stuff. And I was talking to a kid across the student center. And we were talking about TikTok, yada, yada, yada. And another boy, he's like, why you gotta be so loud? And mind you, the student center is packed with at least 50 kids. So, and it's a free period, I could talk however I want to talk. It's not like I was screaming where everybody could hear me, but I was getting his attention. And he comes over here and he's just like, "Yo, shut the f up! Why you gotta be so loud? There's no reason for you to be all loud and stuff." And I'm saying, go away, just go away. I'm not talking to you. Don't interfere. I'm not talking to you. Go about your business.
Now you said this is on Tuesday, but again, what month was it?
What month? It was this month, March.
Got it. Okay, so it's very recent what took place. Go ahead.
Yes, and so he comes over and, he's just telling me, shut the F up, be quiet. Nobody's like, why do you have to be so loud? I'm like, nobody's talking to you. You can go about your business. And then, a girl that was sitting at the table with them, I guess, I don't know what made her get in her feelings. I don't know what made her upset, because literally nothing that I did had anything to do with her. And then she starts calling me B words, N words, all this and that. And so I get up and I go to her. I'm like, yo, what's the problem? And she's like, why the F do you have to be so loud? And let me mind you, when I walked up to her, I gave her arm's distance to where, we could have a conversation. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And she steps in my space. Like, her head is on my chin. Like, that's how close she was. And so I'm like, back up. And like, they make it seem like I pushed her. Like, I pushed her aggressively. I was like, no, she was in my space. Her head was touching my chin. I said, back up. And so then, as I like turn to my friend, I'm like walking towards my friend. She comes and she pushes me on my side. So that I automatically turn and I push her back. Then both of those pushes, like her push and my push, were both aggressive. Not aggressive for any fall though. Any of us to fall, hit our heads, none of that. Like, no one fell, no punches, no nothing. Later, I was called to the office where I sat there. I had to give my story, and then I was later told to go home. Well, I was told to go get my father, and he came, and then, one of the phones was brought in, and, one of the deans came into the office and was like, because there's 4 deans, and one of the deans came into the other dean's office and was like, hey, I need to see that phone on there. And as I was exiting, I was like, if this is yada yada's phone, it has everything you need to see. Come back the next day for the video, it's white, it's gone. Apparently she doesn't have it, nobody has it. Even though it was shared on social media, nobody has it now. And she also received hours for having that video, so who knows? So on Wednesday, I come and I have to go to a discipline committee at 12 o'clock. And so I'm sitting there, I asked for a snack. I asked one of the deans for a snack, and he tells me no. Like, if I did not ask one of the other colored deans for food, this man wouldn't have let me eat the whole day. So I then went to the colored dean and I asked, can I please get a snack or something? I have my own money, I can buy it. And she let me go, and I came back. Then later I went to the DC committee that day, and, before I got there, my coach was telling me, she was like, when you go in here, just own up to what you did. Like, tell them that none of this would have happened if you even walked up there. Me, I'm a kid. I'm trusting my coach. That's my coach. I'm thinking she has all intentions for me. Like, she wants me to be here. So I go in there, I'm sitting down, and I'm telling them it's my fault that, I could have resolved the issue by not going over there. I could have just walked away after she even pushed me. I could have walked away. In the meeting, the lady said, are you sure that girl pushed you? And I'm like, I'm positive the girl pushed me, because why would I push her if she didn't put her hands on me? And then we left. She said, okay, we'll watch the video. I said, okay. Then we left, and my coach was like, I don't like the way she said that. It made it seem like you were lying. And I was like, Coach, I'm not lying. Like, I have nothing to lie about. She pushed me, so I pushed her back. And then coach was like, I believe you, I'm thinking my coach is on my side this whole time. She's going to fight for me, have my back. Next day goes on. Again, I finished the rest of that day off. Then I was told by one of the other deans that I was going to have hours, suspension and hours, because I was already serving in school suspension. So he said that I would definitely have some hours I would have to work off, and then I would be probably suspended for another 2 more days, some more days. That's what I told my consequence was. Expulsion was never on the table. So then I come the next day, and I had bought me a sandwich from the student center that morning. I went to the office. I was like, hey, to the same dean that didn't let me eat yesterday, I have a snack yesterday. I said, hey, where do you want me to sit today? And he's like, what did I tell you about having food in an academic building? And I was like, sir, I haven't ate it. He just said, he snatched it out of my hand, just threw it in the trash can, threw my food in the trash can. So I hadn't ate that entire morning. Then later I was called into the head of the school's office, and I was in there for about 2-3 hours, and they were asking me questions. And he started off with the video, then he started asking me a bunch of questions. And then one of the, she's like a counselor sort of, and she was like, well, Leah's going through a lot, and I talked to her about maybe getting counseling or whatever. And he was like, well, why does she need counseling? And then I explained to him that my grandma had recently passed. And then he asked me, what schools have you went to? I told him I went to Orangewood and Foundation Academy. He said, those are very faith-based. I said, yes, sir. Then he tells me, well, in life, when you grow up, you're realizing reality. No one gives a S. And I mind you, I have no parent, no coach in there, nobody else in there. It's just 5 adults asking me questions for 3 hours straight. And then he says, so what does this girl say to you that makes you want to go?
So at any point, did they call you, Angelia? Did they call Aaliyah? Did they call your father? So why are they having conversations with you about this? And you, as a parent, you're not involved in any way in these conversations.
Right. I never got a call. When it first happened, my daughter, what she did was she hit me a text. She said, "Mom, I'm in trouble." So as a mom, I'm like, "Oh my God, what happened?" So she was like, I pushed the girl. So I'm like, okay. So then I had to call the school and say, hey, listen, let me see this video of my child pushing another child, because she's not aggressive like that. I mean, I teach her to stand her ground, but not to start things. So when I go into the office, I see the video, and all I see is my daughter sitting down, and she get up and just run and push the kid. I'm like, well, the video's skipping. And he's like, oh, well, we've been having IT issues. So I'm like, well, if the video's skipping, that's not accurate. We can't go off that video. So that was it. No call, no email. The only email I got was a Friday of spring break, 3:30 p.m. saying, we have expelled your child. And it's not up for an appeal. My daughter, she's a National Honor Society student. All right? She's never been in an aggressive issue. Yeah, she's had cell phone, not wearing uniform. That's just normal stuff kids get into. But when you tell me that my daughter tried to hurt somebody and you put it in an email and then you expel her and then you think I'm supposed to go withdraw her out your school to transfer these records to another school, that's going to follow her. So, no, we're not doing that. So, yeah, no one told me anything. And so that's why we hear that. We hear because my baby needs justice. This is not right. When you got teachers that are calling me, telling me things, can vouch, it's not right. It's time people stand up for this school.
And can I say something real quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, the main thing that I wanted at first was, to be allowed to finish this year in person and go to Geico, because I play basketball. I'm one of the point guards on the team.
So what is your classification at the school? You are a
sophomore. I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore. Okay, so this is your second year at the academy.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. And we're described as this is an exclusive academy. How many black students are there? Like what's the black population of this academy? How many students overall at this school?
There's a bunch of students in general.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that this academy with 1,000 students, 2,000 students. Like, how large is the school?
Yeah, it's about 2,000 kids.
And how many black kids go to the school?
Some of our international students, and then you have most of the black kids are athletes. Yeah, they play sports.
Got it. Okay, so they make this. I'm sorry. So Aaliyah, you want to go ahead and make a point? Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So at first I wanted to do this to go to school, because she still gets to go to school even though she put her hands on me as well. And I wanted to play basketball because I play on a national team and we're about to head to Geico. But I don't want to play Geico because I feel like my coach just wasn't there for me. That hurts. My coach wasn't there for me the entire time. That's crazy.
So what I'm trying to understand is, how do they arrive at the point of expelling her and there's no conversation with the parents? So does the school have a process when they decide to expel students? Is there some kind of system they have? Is there an appeals process? Or is it simply they make a decision, that's it, you're out?
To be honest, I was told that, of course, the parents are supposed to be involved, especially I've been involved when she got a cell phone issue. They told me about that. Hey, your daughter got in trouble for having a cell phone out. You notify me about that, but you don't notify me about my child getting expelled until she gets expelled. You know, even with the coach, you notify me when you have an issue with her, maybe her and her teammates going back and forth, but you never reach out to me about this is big. My child has just gotten expelled, and you call me and tell me you didn't know about the process. She told me, "Oh, I didn't know about the process." What? How you not know that one of your point guards is about to get expelled? But last year there was a student, okay, that got in trouble for bringing a boy into the girls' dorm. All right, since we've been honest. All right, and this student was allowed to finish school online and to return this year to play on the girls' basketball team. But yet, you didn't fight for my child like that. You didn't do that. Why? Because she's not. What is it? We want to know what was the difference.
The tuition at this school is what, $50,000 a year.
For boarders, she's a day student, so we pay 19 a year.
This is the statement that they provided to us. Go ahead and pull it up, folks. It is the practice of the academy not to discuss student discipline matters, which they treat confidentially. They are noting the business of releasing disparaging information about minors. The academy realizes that she is an adolescent girl who is still maturing, learning from her mistakes and impulsive behavior. Therefore, I cannot provide you with greater detail. However, the academy holds students to a high standard, particularly student athletes. As a private school, the rules are strict and the standard is set high. The academy does not tolerate behavior at school that is intimidating, threatening, or abusive. The safety and security of the student community is always a high priority. I can advise you that state several facts which are simply not true. The other student's father is not and has never been employed by the school. No students were told to delete videos. In fact, we are in possession of several student videos. In addition to videos, the school administration also spoke to numerous witnesses who saw the unprovoked attack, which was not defensive in nature. Finally, I would add that a student's entire disciplinary history is always taken into consideration when disciplinary consequences are determined. To say that she had no prior disciplinary history would also be false. The student's family is pushing a false narrative in an attempt to portray the student in a more sympathetic light. We understand that her parents are disappointed with the disciplinary decision, but the academy stands firm in its resolve to hold students accountable and make sure all students feel safe on campus. That is Lori W. Smith, the attorney for Montverde Academy. Your response to that, and also have you and Jalea, have y'all hired an attorney in this case?
We did. We hired an attorney, and if that's so true, why are you telling me to get off social media and then we'll negotiate? We're not negotiating the fact that what happened. If my child has to walk away with expulsion by telling the truth, she just will. But we're not going to go along with the lies to make you guys look good. It's not going to happen. So I asked my daughter, I said, Leah, what do you want to do? Do you want to just negotiate with them, act like all this stuff is not true? Or do you want to keep telling the truth and pray that the truth will be the light? My child said, Mom, let's the truth, because this is going to help the next child, the next child, the next child not go through what she went through. So Geico's out the window. We don't care. We care about the truth in this situation.
What is your next step?
Our next step is we're going to keep protesting until we get this video, the full truth of what happened. You're only showing one side, and you're telling students not to talk. I mean, like, all this is happening, and the sad thing about it is I have parents calling me, I have teachers calling me, all right, who's telling me your daughter is 100% right. She's not telling the story, but I know she's telling the truth because my child, I teach her to tell the truth, no matter what the consequences are. So we're going to keep fighting, and to be honest, they don't deserve my child to finish school there. You know, for what? You treat her like she was nothing, garbage. Like you just threw her away. She used to get up every morning and go to work at that school. Then she went to class. Then she went to practice. She didn't get home till late nights. And this how you do her. But yet you did have a fight 2 weeks ago in front of the school.
fist fighting.
A fist fight. You had. I got a teacher that's willing to.
And
you had a fist fight.
I have a message sent by a child, like a kid who was literally witnessing it.
And you didn't expel those kids.
Right.
But we are supposed to be quiet. Y'all just be quiet, you know? Shut up. Get me off social media. Get us off social media and we'll negotiate. That's not how it goes. Because my child still got to live with this. It's not right. No. So all the threatening about, oh, they're going to do this and going to press charges. Your child was 18 years old. My child is a sophomore. She's 16. She's a minor.
And something else I want to, like, just add on to this is, like, in that email, he said, I've had behavior issues. I've gotten in trouble for my cell phone and a polo. Please tell me what behavior issues that is. Like, what? My polo and a cell phone? You have to be kidding me. And you know what? I'm going to read this message just because I feel like it's important. It plays a big role in this. So this girl, she doesn't know me. She's in one of my classes. We never speak to each other. You know, we did a protest earlier this morning, and this is the message she sent me. She says, hey, I just want to let you know that I support you. What you did today was very impactful. Don't be scared to stand up for yourself. I have been going to the school for a while, and no one has ever done what you did. Everyone is too scared to speak up, and you are very brave. Don't listen to what anyone says. There has been many fights at this school, and no one has ever gotten kicked out. So you're 100% correct with this. Everything that was on those posters are correct.
It's true. It's there. And they can say, oh, well, you know, you're making the academy look bad. No, the racism there. Discrimination is there. They done hit it for so long. The kids they're quiet. Those kids come to my house every weekend. We talk personally. So it's there, but they're afraid to speak out. But my child gonna speak out. Because once again, it's gonna save the next child and the next child from going through what she went through. So no, we won't ban.
All right. Aaliyah, Angelia, I appreciate both of you joining us to share your story. Certainly keep us abreast what happens next in this case.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Folks, let's now turn to a story we told you about a week ago. That is the attempt by the Tennessee Comptroller to take over Mason, Tennessee. The comptroller of the state complained about the finances, the controls there in Mason, Tennessee, and he demanded that city officials give up their charter. They chose not to do so. The question is he still going to take over their finances? Again, this is an issue a lot of people have been talking about. Mason, Tennessee is a majority black town. And then this is obviously of great concern to many folks, not only because Ford announced they're building a massive facility that's going to bring thousands and thousands of jobs and millions of dollars to the state and to the region, and they're not far at all from Mason. And so let's talk about this here with the vice mayor. We had her on the show last week. She returns to chat with us, and certainly glad to have you back on the show, Vice Mayor. So where do we stand now? Has the control, so the city, as you were on last week, the city made clear that they were not going to give up their charter and allow the county to control the city. What's happening now? Does he have control of your city's finances?
As of right now, it's know that it only supposed to go in effect on the 28th, which will be Monday. They supposed to come in and take over our finances. But they did come down today, the comptrollers did, to look at our numbers to see if what we were saying or what our finance team was telling them that was true, the numbers that we presented to them when we went up to meet with them. So that is what we actually waiting to see, if they're going to accept the numbers. Is he going to make the change, or is things going to stay the same?
So again, there's a lot of people out here commenting. They're saying that the town has been stolen, the land has been stolen. The reality is, y'all are the duly elected representatives of Mason, Tennessee. You and the other city council members are still in charge of the city. The only authority that they have is to take over the finances. And what does the state law say? How long does that last? How do y'all get it back? Walk us through that.
Okay, well, as of now, we don't know how long they're gonna decide to leave it or to stay in control of our finances. All we do know is that they are going to come in, but again, we're gonna wait and see what their decision is going to be next week, because they got the numbers, they got the paperwork, they came down, they looked at everything. So, with that being said, hopefully by next week we'll know if they're gonna do their demands. And as of right now, they don't have control. And I want to let everybody know that we still have the mayor, we still have our officials. We didn't give up our charter, so they're not in control of the city, but they're just in control of the finances as of right now.
So Jason Mumpower is the Tennessee controller, and y'all will know by Monday if they are going to take control of the city's finances. And what that means is that, I think, what is it? Any expenditure over $100, they have to approve?
Right. Anything that any of our bills, of course, all of them are over $100. So we will have to wait till they approve it before we can even pay them. And they could be paid late because they may not get them back to us in time. And also we still can't apply for any grants unless they approve for us to apply for grants.
Gotcha. All right then. Anything else, Vice Mayor Rivers, that we should know about what's happening there in Mason, Tennessee? What do you also want the public to be doing to assist you and the other city council members?
Well, we just want you to keep making noise, keep letting people know, keep supporting us, and just spread the word that we're fighting. We're gonna fight to try to keep them from doing us worse than they already are, because where they are and the demands that he has made on our finances can cause us to go into default with our bills. Because as we stand as of today, we are not behind on any of our bills. We're not in default on anything, our bonds, nothing. So with the control over our finances that he's trying to take, there's a possibility, because all he has to say, well, I'm not going to let you pay that bill right now. And if he make that decision, then we would go in default with everybody that we have contracts with, or we doing business with, or if we need a part for our fire department truck or our water department, we have to wait till he say that we can do it.
All right then. Vice Mayor Virginia Rivers, Mason, Tennessee, we sure appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, want to bring up my panel right now. Glad to have them with us. Killa Bethea, communications strategist. She joins us on the panel. Michael Imhotep, host of the African History Network. He joins us as well. Also, Chris Metzler, attorney. I see Chris there as well. Matt Manning also is joining us as well. Matt Manning, civil rights attorney as well. And so have all of them. But first of all, let me just throw this out, which I'm trying to quite understand, and y'all could talk about the first story, even the second one. This is one of those things that we talked about with the vice mayor last week, and that is, Matt, they're saying the issue they keep talking about took place long before they took over. And a lot of people, I keep people saying, oh, this sounds like Black Wall Street. Well, calm down. That's not what this sounds like. But it is important to be asking, wait a minute, it's like you're the controller. Why are you taking this harsh of a stance all of a sudden?
Particularly when the issues that undergird the Tennessee comptroller coming in started years ago and under all white people who are in control. So the first question is, why are you choosing to do it now? And the answer is that Ford is building a big plant that's going to go right through Mason, and the infrastructure there is going to give Mason a lot of money. So the question I have is, how is Tennessee trying to usurp this, and how are they going to benefit from it? Obviously, there's going to be millions of dollars. The article that I read indicates about $5.6 million in investment from Ford. So my question is, how is Tennessee trying to steal this money from the residents of Mason, and what exactly are they going to do with that? Because it's very obvious that they sat on their hands for a long time and allowed the mismanagement until it became a potential gold mine, and now they're trying to get that money.
And Kelly, the folks at Ford, they've weighed in. They've said they're concerned with what's going on here.
I would be concerned too, because something in the water isn't clean with this, right? If you have a history of managing your finances as a town before a predominantly Black administration comes in, and then all of a sudden, because there's Black people involved, you all of a sudden need to take that power away, that's a problem, because it doesn't say anything about the finances of the town or the status of the town. It has everything to do with you not wanting Black people in power of the town. So I would absolutely, if I were Ford, investigate into the matter as much as I could, given, the parameters that may be. But it something fishy is certainly going on. At least that's what it looks like here.
Michael, this is not shocking. What I mean by that is we've seen these things happen before. In terms of where you have state takeovers, I'm familiar. I'm from Texas, where you had school district that was in Texas. Wilmer Hutchins, a black school district outside of Dallas. The North Forest Independent School District, black school district. You had major financial issues, board drama, corruption, all kind of stuff, and the state took over those school districts. So we have seen, and a lot of the same things we're hearing in Mason, Tennessee, we heard then as well. This is a town that's barely, not even 2,000 people.
About 1,200.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I say, it's not even 2,000. And so what you're dealing with here is you're dealing with this massive facility coming in. There's going to be a financial windfall, and so the vice mayor, last week she made it clear. She's like, "Hey, we want to be able to run our city, but we're trying to clean up the mess of the previous leadership that was all white."
Yeah, isn't it always African Americans got to clean up mess from white people? I mean, look at President Barack Obama came in after 2 terms of George W. Bush. Reading this story, so I've seen some different interviews with this, and thanks for covering this, Roland. This Detroit, we were taken over by the no good Governor Snyder, who was also the governor that the Flint water crisis happened under as well. We were taken over by the state, and then also we know that Detroit Public Schools was also taken over by the state under Governor Granholm, Democratic governor, who's now Secretary of Energy. So, in looking at this, it does seem very strange that all of a sudden now you have this Ford electric truck and battery manufacturing facility that will soon bring an estimated 30,000 jobs to this rural area in West Tennessee. And now you're talking about taking over the finances of the city, but they've been having problems for 20 years. Okay, so hopefully, they can fight this. And then also, I'm looking at there was some American Rescue Plan money that, if I remember correctly, Roland, the American Rescue Plan money, they've been able to, it's like $227,000 they've been able to use to pay back a significant amount of the money that have been improperly borrowed over many years from its water and sewer fund. So a lot of times, one of the things, Mayor Coleman Alexander Young, when he took the oath of office January 1974, he's one of the first African-American mayors of a major city. He got blamed for a lot of things that happened under white mayors. And around the country, when you go look at the first African-American mayors of major cities, when we took over those major cities, they were already on life support from what white people did, okay? But even though African-American mayors did make mistakes, they got blamed for a lot of this stuff. Detroit already had a declining population even before the 1967 Detroit Rebellion.
Right.
Okay, white people were already fleeing the city of Detroit. So, hopefully they're able to fight this and maintain control of the finances. But this is what they do, man. They put you in receivership so they can take over your your city, take over your power, etc.
Folks, we're going to continue to follow this. As we get more details, we certainly will let you know. Got to go to a break. When we come back, Clarence Thomas's wife, Jenny Thomas. What the hell? Text messages she is sent to the chief of staff for Donald Trump, Mark Meadows, now are public. Clarence, you might want to talk. I know you never like to talk on the Supreme Court, but yeah, you might want to have a few words so we can discuss what the hell are you doing? Yeah, we're going to break it down. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. Did you ever want to do a soap opera?
I did it before, Another World. I did it years ago. With Joe Morton, Morgan Freeman, called Another World. It's the funk now, but that's how I started in TV. My first job. My very first TV job.
Joe Morton and Morgan Freeman were on a soap opera?
Together. Yes, I know. Oh, I loved it. I played a prostitute. I was real raw. My name was Lily Mason. I was a hoe on Tuesday and I owned the town 2 weeks later. That's how they do you.
Right, that's how soap opera.
You evolve, yeah.
Right.
So now I'm on this, but I'm rich right from Jump Street. So I'm loving it.
Hi, this is Essence Atkins.
Hey, I'm Dion.
Jenny Thomas, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, is putting him in quite an ethical position. Folks, folks, the Women's March, they want Thomas impeached for text messages showing his wife Jenny, who was pushing for then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. The January 6th committee has text messages between Thomas and Meadows. Here are a few of them. Help this great president stand firm. Mark, you're the leader with him who is standing for America's constitutional governance at the precipice. The majority knows Biden and the left is attempting the greatest heist of our history that was sent on November 10th, 2020. Next one, please. Sounds like Sydney and her team are getting inundated with evidence of fraud. Make a plan, release the Kraken, and save us from the left taking America down. November 19th, 2020. Next. All right. I can't see Americans swallowing the obvious fraud. Just going with one more thing with no freaking consequences. The whole coup and now this. We just came to people wanting Biden to be anointed. Many of us can't continue the GOP charade. November 24th, 2020. We're living through what feels like the end of America. Most of us are disgusted with the vice president and are in a listening mode to see where to fight with our teams. Those who attack the Capitol are not representative of our great teams of patriots for DJT. Amazing times, the end of liberty. That was January 21st, 2021. Now, folks, here's the issue. Remember when Donald Trump sued and the case went to the Supreme Court? And they ruled 8-1 that Donald Trump did not have the authority to withhold his notes because he did not have the executive privilege. Only the sitting president can actually invoke that. Who was the one person who voted against? It was Clarence Thomas. Joining us right now, Dr. Christopher Mettler, a constitutional law professor from New York. Also, Dr. Patricia Broussard, professor of law, Florida A&M University College of Law, who joins us from Orlando, Florida. Glad to have both of you here. I want to start with you, Chris. Look, you're a conservative. You're a Republican. It's all good. But what do you make of the text messages and the level of involvement of Ginni Thomas, husband, Supreme Court Justice, and again, the case I just cited, 8-1, he was the one when it came to revealing that information?
Well, what I make of it, let me start off by saying what I make of it is, remember one of the questions they asked Judge Brown Jackson, would she recuse herself from the Harvard affirmative action case? And she said yes. I want to know why Republicans have not been asking Clarence Thomas about his failure to recuse. Here, look, first of all, these are only some of the text messages. We know what we got from Mark Meadows, and then he stopped cooperating. Justice Department, of course, can get it on their own. But here's the thing. He had an obligation to a moral obligation, because obviously the court says it's up to them if they want to recuse or not. He had a moral obligation to recuse. Ginni Thomas and her role in conservative Republican nuts politics has been known for quite a while. It's just that in this case, there is the evidence that has come out. And he voted against it largely because, guess what? He didn't want Ginni's notes to be revealed. That's the only rationale for him being the only one voting against it. What this says is that the courts have to get serious about policing themselves. You know, it was John Roberts who said, well, let them police themselves. They're not even subject to the standards of other federal justices as it relates to recusal. And for the Republican Party, this is, again, yet another shame.
Patricia, on that particular point that Chris makes, you have standards in place for members of Congress, for the executive branch. But this notion that the Supreme Court do whatever the hell they want to do, that's crazy.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no to the extent that each branch of government is responsible for creating those rules and laws for themselves. It's part of how our Constitution was drawn up. It's just that the Supreme Court hasn't quite gotten around to it yet. They haven't gotten around to writing the rules to properly patrol themselves. But notwithstanding the fact that there aren't rules, they aren't subject to the same rules as the other federal courts, there's some common sense that comes into play here, right? And I also wanted to say, look, who's Brett Kavanaugh's wife? You don't know. What's her name? What's her sign? Who's Alito's wife? Does Sotomayor have a boo? You don't know. Because you're not supposed to know. These people are supposed to float in the background. Is it possibly paternalistic? Yes, but there's a purpose behind it. If you cannot depend on the credibility and the ethics of the court, then 1/3 of your republic is in the tubes. And so we shouldn't even know anything about Ginni Thomas. But as Chris said, we know too much about her. She's a nut job from way back when. All you need to know, 2 things you need to know about her to understand who and what she is. She supported Ted Cruz for president until Trump got it. That's the first thing you have to know about her. The second thing is she left a message on Anita Hill's phone. So that tells you everything. She left that woman a message saying, you need to apologize to my husband. So this is the level of crazy that we're dealing with. Notwithstanding that, there is an obligation, a moral obligation, and just integrity on the part of Clarence Thomas to say, I recuse myself from this case. He recused himself when there was a case, I think, against one of the schools in Virginia because his son was attending the school at the time, even though his son did not have anything to do with the case. He recognized that he was intimately involved with that subject matter, and he recused himself. So he knows the rules. He knows how the game works. He knows that for optics, if for nothing else, you recuse yourself. But he refused to do so because they had the goods. Mark Meadow got shaky and decided that he wouldn't cooperate, but not before he turned in some information. Now, my position is, if we know of 29 emails from the little bit of information he turned in, they're probably 129 at a minimum emails that were exchanged. So he knows the rules of the game.
Chris, on that particular point, just a couple of weeks ago, it was Justice Clarence Thomas talking about how we need to keep politics out of the Supreme Court. You're sleeping with politics.
Yeah, and as it relates to Jenny, from the very beginning, she is a daughter of the Republican Party in Virginia. And frankly, without Jenny, Clarence wouldn't be on the court. Let's be clear about the kind of power she wields in Republican politics. And so, yes, we know too much about her. We know what she does. This just brought it to life with actual text messages. But, you know, he does know better. But as it relates to Jenny, apparently he chooses to ignore it.
Bottom line, Patricia, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I was going to say, not only that, let's parse this thing from a constitutional law standpoint.
Yes.
Does she have the right to believe that Biden didn't win? Of course she does. Does she have the right to tell her girlfriends and everybody else and anybody who will listen that she didn't think that Biden won? Of course she does. She has the right to spread whatever nonsense she wants. She doesn't have a right to conspire to overthrow the government. And that's
especially when you're married to one of 9 Supreme Court justices who will be ruling on cases tied to the very thing.
Absolutely. So he knows. I mean, it would make me sick too. I think I'd have to take a few days off if my spouse got kind of caught in a little trap like this. I'm not saying the man wasn't sick. Please don't quote me on that. I'm just saying that it's, you know, I would be sick if my spouse got caught doing what she did. So it's absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, she can believe what she wants to believe, but the idea of conspiring with Mark Meadow, and that's the tip of the iceberg. We don't know what else is out there.
Yep.
It's daunting. And the hypocrisy is incredible. Can you imagine Kamala Harris's husband making a call to Biden saying, hey, man, let's do X, Y, and Z? Absolutely not. We are held to a different standard than other folks. And it's just, the hypocrisy is just daunting. I mean, you could slice it with a knife.
But he is, they say, the ultimate holder of all that is constitutional. He is, the message goes, one who strictly adheres to the Constitution, except when it comes to trying to overthrow the government by your wife. So there you have it.
Well, and he gave a speech. I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, in which he said, we need to keep politics out of the judiciary. Yeah, right. You need to start at home and having a little conversation with your wife, and maybe, you know, she can work that out for you. That's like I said, the hypocrisy is ridiculous.
Patricia, Chris, I appreciate you both. Thank you so very much for joining us right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Thank you so much for having us. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll do it again. All right, folks, got to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the demise of the Black News Channel. Today, the decision was made to shut the network down. I'm going to unpack and deconstruct what happened and why we got to this particular point. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Back in a moment. Hey fam, Patrol Grooming is a black-owned men's grooming company that delivers on this promise every day to men everywhere. Everything we do, every product we make is designed to help you to present your best self. It's a promise they've kept since 1991 when they first introduced the Bump Patrol brand, the #1 men's product for a smooth, bump-free shave and silky skin. Millions of customers count on their exceptional skincare products, which can be found at more than 30,000 retail stores in more than 50 countries around the world. Now you can have exceptional beard and skincare products that are as unique as you. Fellas, as we prepare to head back out into the world as COVID restrictions are being lifted, it's time to get our groove back. You can visit patrolgrooming.com to order a Patrol Grooming box and do this. Use the discount code #Roland30. That's #ROLAND30 for a 30% discount at the checkout. We appreciate Patrol Grooming being a partner with us here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network.
On the next A Balanced Life, as we grind down to the end of another long winter, it's easy to slip out of balance and into the foggy doldrums. On the next A Balanced Life, ways to push through the gray days until the warm days of spring arrive. Join me, Dr. Jackie, on A Balanced Life on Black Star Network.
We're all impacted by the culture, whether we know it or not. From politics to music and entertainment, it's a huge part of our lives, and we're going to talk about it every day right here on The Culture with me, Faraji Muhammad, only on the Black Star Network.
Now, did you ever want to do a soap opera?
I did it before, Another World. I did it years ago. With Joe Morton, Morgan Freeman, called Another World. It's the funk now, but that's how I started in TV. My first job. My very first TV job.
Joe Morton and Morgan Freeman were on a soap opera?
Together. Yes,
Wow.
I know. Oh, I loved it. I played a prostitute. I was real raw. My name was Lily Mason. I was a hoe on Tuesday and then I owned the town 2 weeks later. That's how they do you.
Right, that's how soap opera.
You evolve, yeah.
Right.
So now I'm on this, but I'm rich right from Jump Street. So I'm loving it.
This is Judge Mathis.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mac Wiles, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, news came down today that the Black News Channel, the Black Targeted Cable Network that was launched a couple of years ago, is shutting down. They aired their last newscast on last night. Now, knew this thing was coming because this email was sent out yesterday to all the staff with regards to pay. So pull up the email showing the pay, please. Thank you. Pull it up. Thank you. Pull it up. That email went out. BNC staff, the March 25th payroll deposit will be delayed. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. We are actively working to resolve this matter quickly and will advise you with an update as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. I got the email yesterday. A number of people were calling, people were texting, they were sending all kinds of different comments. And I said to different people, I said, I want to help y'all out. This sounds to me like you're about to get shut down. This morning, woke up, folks had not had their deposits placed, then began to make phone calls. And then I reached out to the CEO of the network, let him know that I was going to be posting something, posting that note on social media. He told me, quote, I'm working hard to get people paid for the work that they've done as Prince O'Hare, the CEO of Black News Channel. That was around 11 a.m. It was a couple of hours later that, again, the Los Angeles Times broke the story saying they were shutting down. Then around 3 p.m. or so, Prince O'Hare sent this letter to the entire staff announcing the shutdown of the network. So this is what he wrote. A little more than 2 years ago, the lights on BNC's cameras flipped on for the first time. Despite the challenges of a global pandemic, we launched a groundbreaking mission to inject positive change into a news landscape that, for far too long, had underserved and overlooked Black and brown people. During the past few months, we have endured very painful workforce reductions at all levels of the network as we work to achieve our financial goal of a break-even business. This has forced all of you to do more with less, and your contributions have been remarkable. Unfortunately, due to challenging market conditions and global financial pressures, we've been unable to meet our financial goals, and the timeline afforded to us has run out. It's with a broken heart that I am letting you all know that, effective immediately, BNC will cease live production and file for bankruptcy. We're sad and disappointed by this reality and recognize the stress that this puts on you and your families. With the nation on the verge of a social justice reckoning not seen in this country since the civil rights era, we've been hard at work building our presence in the marketplace with unprecedented speed. Through a continuous run of distribution agreements on both linear and streaming platforms, BNC's accessibility has grown to reach more than 250 million touch points. Since rebranding and relaunching the network a year ago, we have developed a 17-hour daily block of live programming and a lineup of shows that are outstanding. Every day we present stories, context, and viewpoints that illuminate and celebrate the Black experience in a way that no other network has since the dawn of television. We have hired more than 250 Black journalists and Black production personnel, and all your hard work and dedication has lifted this network to incredible heights. There have been countless wins along the way, including gavel-to-gavel coverage of several trials that gripped our community, A-list guests throughout our day parts, and exclusive coverage of the Congressional Black Caucus's first ever response to the President's State of the Union address. Just this week, we set an all-time viewership record for the network doing wall-to-wall coverage of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's U.S. Supreme Court confirmation hearings. I understand that this surprising and unfortunate news will naturally generate a lot of questions surrounding next steps. Our leadership team and human resources will be in touch to address them over the coming days and weeks. Please know that I am thankful for all of your hard work and deep commitment to our mission. We have differentiated ourselves, and your achievements over the last 2 years should be an immense source of pride that you will carry throughout the rest of your careers. In the meantime, please take care of yourselves and each other, and remember that we built something great here. BNC, or something very close to it, will surely return at some point because the world needs it, and all of you have proven it can be done. Sincerely, Prince O'Hare. All right, folks, so let me unpack this so you can understand what went on here. BNC actually launched. They made the announcement in 2019. Former Congressman J.C. Watts, it was his vision to launch a Black news cable network. He had been trying to do this for more than a decade. And he and I communicated in March of 2018 because I asked him what was the state of it, and he said that investors were going through the process of vetting their financials, and then it was later that year, probably around December, when they actually began to close on it, and then they announced they were going to be launching. They kept having the date pushed back and pushed back. They didn't launch until really February 2020. But a major investor did come in, Shahid Khan, the Pakistani-American billionaire who is the owner of the NFL Jacksonville Jaguars. He came in and invested $50 million into Black News Channel, thus becoming the majority shareholder. So Black News Channel went from being a Black-owned cable network to a Black-targeted cable network by virtue of him being the majority owner. This is JC and Shahid Khan talking about the Black News Channel before they launched.
Now the time to launch a TV network focused on the African American viewer.
Well, Catherine, the Black News Channel is culturally specific to the African American community. You've got 200 plus stations on any cable system. We are the one location that you can come and find out about wellness, culture, current affairs as it relates to the African American community. So we launch on November 15th of this year, and we're looking forward to creating a venue that African Americans can find culturally specific issues pertaining to them.
Congrats. Shad, you're an investor in this channel, and I'm wondering, when you looked at this, how do you think that the Black News Channel will compete against news networks that already have the resources?
Well, I think it's going to do real well. To add to what JC was saying, it's specific needs of a community that's for the underserved, the African American. It's great for me to be part of it. It's been under planning for a long time, and then to come in and help provide financially so it launches and launches well.
You heard there where J.C. Watts said that they were launching in November of 2019. That got pushed to December, then January, then finally in February. So they launched in February 2020. Well, guess what? After they launched, the co-CEO, Bob Brilliante, he was actually let go. They announced he was moving on to pursue other opportunities, but he was let go from the network. He, of course, launched the Florida News Channel. And of course, he always had his idea of actually doing a Black news network. Folks may not realize that when you had Major Broadcasting Cable Network, they had partnered with him to actually do something similar to BNC, and so they did it first. This is a photo. This is a It's a story right here in the Tallahassee newspaper when he stepped down after a couple of months. You see, the story was dated April 13th, 2020. So here's what happened after that. You see that this was their original logo right here. Then they brought in Prince O'Hare, longtime television news executive. He eventually became the CEO, and he led a massive rebranding of the network. You see that logo that's right behind him? That was their new branding. They changed their whole slogan to Truth, and they went through all of these different changes, and then they went on this huge hiring spree, hiring a number of people. You heard in the letter he wrote, they referenced the 250 Black journalists and production folks that they hired. Here was the fundamental problem with Black News Channel, because people have been asking me this question: why did this fail? Why is it didn't succeed? What's going on? What's the whole deal here? The reality is this here. It was the absolute worst time to launch a cable network. Why? Because the world had been changing. The cord cutting came in. People began to get rid of cable, and then they began to go towards online. I told J.C. Watts directly, don't launch a linear network. Launch it as a digital network. I said, why? More cost effective, you can grow it faster and larger, and you're not going to be able to spend as much money. Now, why does that matter? Now, a lot of people out there are saying, this ain't right. I mean, this man is a billionaire. He got the money. Y'all, folk who are billionaires ain't in the business of losing money. That ain't what they do. They see what's going on. If you don't see the profit potential, I'm cutting ties. My understanding, for the last 3 months, he's been struggling and not wanting to fund what's been going on. You read the letter where they had the layoffs in December. Those were not enough layoffs. They were burning too much cash. So the first mistake they made was launching a linear network. Now, I need y'all to understand the cable business. You know, the cable business, how it has always worked, you get paid for subscribers. So if you're in 51 million homes, you negotiate the deal where you get 2 cents, 3 cents, 5 cents, a dime, a quarter. You look at $1. The most expensive folks in terms of on cable networks have long been ESPN, Fox News, because the amount of money they get per cable subscriber. So if you have cable television right now, when you look at your bill, you look at how much money in your bill, a significant portion, the largest portion of your bill right now is going to Fox News and ESPN. That's why people start cutting cable. They said cable bills got too high. Spending $100, $150, $200 for cable, they said that's enough. The problem for Black News Channel, they were not getting subscription fees. So they were a 100% ad-supported cable network. Well, folks, that subscription fee is a revenue line. That means that you're airing on the network hoping folks are watching. You need to have high numbers so you can actually get advertising. When you don't have high numbers in cable, you get what is called bottom of the barrel advertising, which is direct marketing. What's direct marketing? That's when you're sitting, seeing those commercials with a 1-800 number attached to it, and it's Joe Namath doing some kind of insurance pitch, or Jimmy J.J. Walker. That's direct marketing, folks. Those are the commercials that you're seeing. Those commercials, you get money, it's a low amount of money. So those were the majority of the advertisers that were on the network. They were only averaging, a few months ago, 4,000 viewers in an hour. Now, the numbers begin to improve, begin to go up around 10,000. This week, because of the confirmation hearings, is their best ever numbers. Their best ever numbers. And so, but guess what? It got cut. Now, you're watching and you might be saying, wait a minute, this guy Shahid Khan, he put in $50 million. My goodness, how in the world is it they somehow could not solve this thing and figure it out? Let me unpack that as well, folks. I need y'all to understand the economics. There's a whole bunch of people been tweeting me all day. I don't understand why this couldn't work. I don't know, why couldn't some black celebrities get together and buy it? Why couldn't Byron Allen buy it? Y'all, if a billionaire Shahid Khan cut ties, why in the hell would Byron Allen or somebody else do it? Now, I was told that Byron Allen did offer $30 million to buy the network. Khan did not accept that. He wanted $100 million. Why? He'd already put in $50 million. But even at $30 million, really didn't make any sense, because Byron could simply take that money and put 10 or 15 million in his Griot channel and the Griot website, build up their news side, and you don't have to assume all the debt from the Black News Channel. Second thing is, you were not big enough from a marketing standpoint. A lot of people said, I never heard of the Black News Channel. You didn't see billboards and commercial and digital ads. You didn't see a major social media presence. That costs money. So let me tell y'all what went on. Now, I did have some negotiations with them. When Bob Brilliante was co-CEO of the network, they approached me about hosting a show on the Black News Channel. We met here, did a conference call, we met here in DC. This is a true story, y'all. I've never told this publicly. People who know me personally, I've discussed this offline. They met with me and they wanted me to host a primetime show, 30 minutes, which first of all made no sense whatsoever. You don't host a 30-minute damn show, you do the whole hour. It's a 24-hour network. If you do a 30-minute show, you gotta put another 30-minute show behind it. But that made no sense. So they wanted me to host a 30-minute show, and they were gonna have Larry Elder follow me, and they offered me $85,000 to host a 30-minute show. And then they wanted me to also utilize my social media, promote the network. I said, I'm not even responding to that offer. I'm sorry, I made $85,000 running Tom Jones' website, blackamericaweb.com in 2001. Do you actually think, after what I've accomplished over the next 18 years, I'm gonna take $85,000? Hell no. So I told them I'm not taking that offer. And so I said, if y'all want to be serious, y'all come back and holler at me. So they never did. Princell came in, they never called as well, and I was fine. I told them, we're just fine here at Roland Martin Unfiltered, the Black Star Network. My employees have always gotten paid on time, never been late, not even 1 minute, and we've been in the black since the 14th month we've been in operation, so we're good. So they spend all of this money here, beyond going linear, and then you talking about not going digital. When Princell came in, I know Princell very well, years in the National Association of Black Journalists, but he made some fatal mistakes. The biggest mistake, he hired way too many people at high salaries, and that caused them to have way too much money going out of the door and not coming into the company. You simply have to be able to control your expenses when it comes to your revenue, otherwise you're going to be DOA. Now let me show y'all something I need y'all to understand when we talk about the business of the business. Because see, too many of y'all, I've seen y'all tweets and y'all comments, y'all get enamored with the content. Let me explain something to y'all. The content don't mean nothing if ain't nobody watching. The content don't mean nothing if ain't nobody buying. Now, y'all need to understand, I was one of the first folks to work for TV One. In fact, what y'all may not realize is when Jonathan Rogers met with Alfred Liggins at the cable show in New Orleans to talk about launching TV One, Jonathan had drinks with me before he had drinks with Alfred. I walked him over to his meeting with Alfred. When Jonathan closed the deal to become the first CEO of TV1, I got the phone call. TV1's name hadn't even been decided yet. And Jonathan said, your voice is needed. I'm going to bring you on, but I need some time to do so. So let me explain to y'all something. This is how much Jonathan Rogers had to build TV1 in the first 4 years. $130 million. I'm right here on my iPad. He had $130 million to spend to build TV1 over the first 4 years, okay? $130 million. Now, y'all heard what I said. How much was the investment of Khan? Now, you also had other investors. So probably the total investment for Black News Channel was likely this, $60 million. $60 million. Now, you go, wait a minute, hold up. 60 million? Which means if you got a 5-year plan, bro, this is real simple. The only thing you could spend per year is that, $10 million. That's not what happened. They hired all these people. They had crews all around the country. They brought in a number of high-paid hosts, high-paid executive producers, and I understand why Prince Hale wanted to do that, because you wanted to have a strong look and you wanted to compete. But let me explain something to you, folks. Competing means nothing if you don't exist. You can look good for a short while, but it means nothing if you go out of business. Now, you might ask, well, why does that, have we heard that before? Yep. Y'all ever heard of something called New TV? New Urban Entertainment TV? Yeah, you may not remember that. New Urban Entertainment TV was a Black cable network that came out in the early 2000s. Go to my pad, please. This is a story from Multi-Channel News. They survived about 3 years. They were really operational for 2 years. You had Dennis Brownlee was the founder. You had Quincy Jones was involved. There was another official who used to be with AT&T. He was involved. They had $15 million when they raised. You know what they did? Launched a news show. They covered Tom Joyner's wedding to Donna Richardson Joyner. Had all this sort of content. Here was the problem. Go back to the article. Here was the problem. They were in only 2 million households. They were spending money. Wasn't nobody watching. Y'all, guess who was one of the investors in New TV? Radio One. That's what led Alfred Liggins to say, hey, we should launch our own network. So what people need to understand is, if you do not get it, you're not getting subscription fees. You're DOA, which means you better control your cost to ensure that you're going to be able to survive. If you do not survive, then you are dead. They simply had too many people. They were doing live shots from different places that made no sense whatsoever. You have to maximize your expenses and maximize your revenue. They had too much money going out of the door, not enough money going in. You can look great, but no advertiser is going to give you money, no real advertiser, if you only have 4,000 people watching. The other thing is they didn't have deep pockets. Let me explain something to y'all. Let me pull this up so y'all can understand. Brian Roberts, who is the CEO of Comcast, said point blank on a conference call the other day that Peacock, y'all know Peacock, right? The network that NBC launched. Do y'all know, don't show it yet, but do y'all understand how much money Peacock lost last year? Go to my iPad. Last year, Peacock, the new streaming network of NBC, lost $1.7 billion in 2021. $1.7 billion. Y'all, in the same article, he said, come right here, go back. For 2022, Comcast expects Peacock losses to total about $2.5 billion as its investment in content doubles. Now, you're watching and you're like, whoa, hold up. Y'all lost $1.7 billion last year, and y'all gonna lose $2.5 billion this year? Y'all, they publicly traded. They market cap exceeds $100 billion. They say we can absorb the losses now because what we're actually trying to build towards. Black News Channel had one billionaire who put in 50 million. This is something you need to understand. You cannot keep up with the Joneses. They were trying to do CNN and MSNBC type news. You can't compete against people who are making, in the case of MSNBC, 700 million in profit. CNN is making $1 billion in profit. Fox News is making 1.5 billion in profit. Now, some of y'all are watching me right now, and y'all are sitting here saying, oh, Roland, I feel you, but, you in competition, you hating. No, let me further unpack this for y'all who are watching. My first paid job was at the Houston Defender, black-owned newspaper. I wrote for the Dallas Weekly, the Dallas Examiner, black-owned newspaper. I was the managing editor of the Dallas Weekly, black-owned newspaper. I was managing editor of the Houston Defender, black-owned newspaper. I was the editor of Tom Joyner's website, blackamericaweb.com, black-owned website. I was a news editor of Savoy Magazine, run by Vanguard Media, black-owned magazine. Then later became the executive editor and later general manager of the Chicago Defender, black-owned newspaper. I produced the election special for a major broadcasting cable network, black-owned. 13 years at TV One, black-owned. 11 years, Tom Joyner Morning Show, black-owned. I'm trying to explain to you the business of the business. This is something that I used to say, and as a matter of fact, I freaked out Alfred Liggins when he said this at TCA when we launched launched News One Now. We were the Television Press Critics Tour in California, and I said to all the press critics, they said, Roland, you're launching this morning show on TV One. How are you going to compete with Good Morning America and the other morning shows? And I said, I'm not. They go, I'm sorry, what do you mean? I said, I'm not. I can't compete with them. The Today Show car budget is bigger than my budget. I said, but here's something that the Today Show cannot do. They cannot out-black me. They said, whoa. And even Alfred went, whoa, I've never heard that. I said, well, you're hearing it now. When I ran the Chicago Defender, I couldn't compete with the Chicago Tribune and Chicago Sun-Times. Couldn't. They had way more money and resources. But they couldn't out-black me. See, what out-black me means is, when there's a news story, you can't out-black me. I'm going to lock and load on that story. So you might ask, well, Roland, what should a Black News Channel have done? First and foremost, you should not have had programming running from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. that was live. It's a total waste of money because, frankly, nobody was watching. It's a waste of resources. Your focus should have been solely on building your primetime hours, 7 p.m. to 11. That's 4 shows. That's 4 hours. You then run those shows 2 more times in the 24-hour period. That means that those 4 shows now take up 12 hours of your 24-hour block. What you then do is take advantage of free content such as congressional hearings, which you're allowed to use by fair use, even though C-SPAN shows them, because the cable contract says they have to provide that free to anybody who wants to use it. You also go acquire very inexpensive documentaries, and you put together a programming schedule, and you methodically build your network by watching your dollars. So if you had $50 million and you say, listen up, we're only spending $10 million this year. Folks like, yeah, but no, I don't want to hear it. When I was at TV One, had a brother, he used to work at BET. He was like, we got to go do this. If this was BET, we were at ABC. I said, stop. We ain't at ABC. So don't tell me what ABC will be doing and how much they will be spending, because we ain't at ABC. Now, see, some of y'all watching right now, let me explain to you how you don't get caught up in running with the Joneses. Do y'all see this table right here? Y'all see this table right here? This was one of the original tables we used on the show. Kelly remembers. She used to come into the studio. This was one of the tables she would sit behind. The black chair I sit in, this was our set. We had 4 of these tables and 4 chairs. You know why? We couldn't afford no damn set. I wasn't stupid. I wasn't spending a crazy amount of money. So you know what I did? I waited. Did I want a news desk? Yes. Could I afford a news desk? No. So what happened? By the second year, take the shot, Henry. We bought this. It cost us $8,000. We couldn't afford it in the first year. Hello. Come back. We're now in a new studio, 5,200 square feet, 5 different sets. I couldn't afford that. I couldn't afford the robotic cameras, but we methodically built. That's what Black News Channel did not do. They did not conserve their resources to methodically build. They tried to grow too fast. Pull up the letter that Princell wrote. And he said it in the letter. Go to page 2 and then page 3. The letter from Princell. He said it. We grew at a remarkable, what does it say? We've been hard at work building our presence in the marketplace with unprecedented speed. You spent too much money, Princell. You did. Khan is a businessman. He was not going to put another $25 million into a venture that was going to keep losing money. Now, a lot of people were talking about, there was a whole lot of issues in terms of what were they going to do. People have not been getting paid because today was payday. Before I came on the air, I got a phone call that they did get him to verbally commit to pay all of the employees through today's pay period, which meant for the folks who ran the last 2 weeks, they're going to get paid. This tweet by Mark Lamont Hill was posted before that happened. This tweet went up. Go ahead and show it. This tweet here went up. You see at 4:47 p.m. That Khan was refusing to give people their paychecks today. Hundreds of employees, many of whom already took significant pay cuts, are now being denied money they've already worked for. Khan, a billionaire, simply says he doesn't want to pay it. That was at 4:47 p.m. I got the phone call, y'all, at 6 p.m. that Khan agreed to actually pay the employees. So that is happening. What I need people to, I'm going to close this way, what I need people to understand, because somebody asked me, well, how's Univision and Telemundo successful? First and foremost, Univision ain't an American network. Univision is seen throughout the entire Spanish-speaking world. Telemundo, same thing. You cannot make the comparison. I need folks to understand that also how you build a network, you have to be able to manage your finances and understand how to grow it. Even though people think you're going to get millions of people watching a show, that's not it. On an absolutely fantastic, unbelievable, crazy day, we would have 130,000 total people watching News One now. 130,000. I don't think we ever hit total 150,000 viewers. We were in 58 million homes, y'all. We had 52 Radio 1 stations promoting TV One. The marketplace that you are in changes. It dictates how you're able to grow. So I'm just going to put this in context so you can understand, folks, again here. Because again, remember, y'all, I did it. I just want everybody to understand. You looking at the only, outside of BNC, before BNC launched, you're looking at the only African American who hosted for 4 years a Sunday morning show on TV One. Was it live? No. We taped it on Friday. Why? It was cheaper and more cost effective. You're looking at, before BNC, the only black person who had a daily morning show on a black-owned network for 4 years. So that's for 8 years, y'all, from 2009 to 2017, September 2009 to December 2017, where I had the experience of how do you compete in a marketplace with a show on a black-owned network. And so it's understanding how you methodically build it. Now, I had one of my staffers said this to me, and a person who used to work for me, and she wanted a raise. And she said that she felt that she deserved to get $65,000. And I said, you're right, but not here. She's like, what do you mean? I said, a company can only pay you according to the revenue that they bring in. You might think you're worth $65,000. You probably are, but not here. You have to go to a place that can actually pay you $65,000. The position that I have for you can only pay you $45,000. That ain't right. It's business because you're not the only employee. So when you look at the number of people they hired, and I know many of those people, but they overpaid. They were spending too much money. That's why they had to shut down today. Y'all, this is business. And what we have to understand is you do not throw bad money at something that is not succeeding. And that's hard because the idea of a black cable news network is important. But if you cannot pay for it, it doesn't exist. What is the point of lasting 2 years when you want to last 20 or 200? The cable landscape is littered with wonderful ideas that failed because the business plan could not sustain itself. So you're sitting here going, well, I don't understand, Roland. How are you still in business? You know why? I check the account every day. I manage every dollar. Don't tell me you lost the remote to the Roku. Find the damn remote. I'm not about to spend another $20 to go pay for it because that's $20 that I got to pay. Also, if somebody's sitting here going, oh man, we did $3 million in revenue and we made an $800,000 profit, you should give everybody bonuses. So what happens next year? We have an economic downturn and advertising goes down. How am I going to pay you? So right now, this is 2022. I'm already thinking about how I'm going to pay all of my employees and pay my rent in 2024. Folks, this was business. And again, you can't get so locked in to a great idea if you can't pay for it. And so there are going to be a number of stories that are done about what happened. And by the way, TV One, we had $130 million. Diddy's Revolt, they had $65 million. And one reason they struggled in this first several years, they were undercapitalized. Diddy wrote his letter talking about that in the whole Byron Allen lawsuit, where he talked about also they didn't have a distribution. What came with distribution? Sub fees. So folks, this is the business of the business. And so there are people without jobs. Lots of talent out there. There's still opportunity. But I want folks to understand, can this notion succeed? Can this idea of a black news network work? The answer is yes. It can work, but it has to be done right. You must be managing all dollars. I was a contributor for CNN. I got no problem telling y'all this. When I left CNN as a contributor, I was getting paid $285,000. I walked in at $250,000. BNC was paying contributors. How? I'm telling y'all right now, I have no problem being transparent. I would love to send Kelly, Michael, and Matt a check to be on my panel every week. But let me tell you right now, if I did, we would not be standing here 6 months from now. When I ran the Chicago Defender, this is the last story I'll tell before I go to the panel, then I got guests that are waiting, and I thank you for being patient who are waiting. When I ran the Chicago Defender, y'all, the Chicago Defender had not made a profit in 20 years. They had lost money for 20 consecutive years. Their expenses were being covered by the Michigan Chronicle, the Tri-State Defender in Memphis, and the Pittsburgh Courier. Those publishers were pissed that their profit was going to pay for the Defender. And so when I got to Chicago, we were in this massive building. And it was a building that they had been in since the 1950s when John Sinstadt was the publisher. It was the building that we were in when we became a daily newspaper. And all of these black people in Chicago were going, man, We've got to save the building. This is a historic building. Do you know what it means? You had the black historian, he just passed, his name escapes me right now. He just died. And he did an interview in front of the defender. He was tearing me to shreds because I was talking about moving the Chicago Defender out of that building somewhere else. I listened to him. And I said, if we had to refurbish the building, we were only using 10% of the building. If we had to refurbish the building, it would cost $7 to $9 million to refurbish the building. The entire company wasn't worth $7 million. So I said, y'all got to make a decision, Chicago, Black Chicago. Y'all want to save the paper or save the building? You got to pick. Yes, I moved the paper to a new building to save it. We lost money my first year. We made a $100,000 profit my second year. We made a $400,000 profit my third year. That's business. Black-owned media can be successful, but it's also about building it. Black News Channel was black targeted. But now y'all understand, I hope, why y'all hear me talking about black-owned advertising. Why y'all hear me talking about why we should get our fair share of the $1 billion the federal government spends every year on advertising. Now I hope you understand why I fight so hard to get our fair share of the $322 billion being spent every single year on advertising that black-owned media gets 0.5 to 1%. Folks, can there be a black-owned media network that is thriving and successful? Yes. Are we trying to build it at the Black Star Network? Yes. But do understand, I will not try to act like I'm at the Palm restaurant when all I got is Golden Corral money. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take my behind to the Golden Corral and go enjoy that meal. And then one day I'm gonna tell my staff, I'm gonna take all y'all out to dinner at the Palm restaurant. But what we not gonna do is go to the Palm restaurant today and then I'm telling y'all how great it was when we were together because ain't nobody having any jobs. This is business. And people are hurting and I totally get it. But the bottom line is there were some strategic mistakes made by the folks at Black News Channel that led to today's decision. Let's hope others don't make the same mistake. My next guest, hold on one second. I do want folks to go right ahead and weigh in. I'll start with you, Michael Imhotep.
Well, Roland, first of all, you just gave what we call in business school, we would call these case studies. You just gave a case study on an African-American media company, okay? African-American targeted media company. So that was fantastic what you just broke down. And, you know, I watched the Black News Channel. I know a lot of the people on there. And I think it was last Friday on your show, I talked about how your YouTube views are much greater than their YouTube views. So that was something I was noticing, and there was a disconnect. And then I'm looking at the content. They had good content, but I'm looking at the low YouTube views for most of their videos. Most videos don't get more than probably 2,000 views. Most of their videos. Then also, I remember it was some months ago, it talked about how out of 124 cable stations, they were like second from last, something like that.
Yeah, so, second from last. They were tied with one of Byron Allen's cable networks. I think one of his cable networks. They were averaging 4,000 viewers in prime time.
Yep. You know, so I have respect for J.C. Watts for what he was attempting to do. You know, I may disagree with him here and there. I have respect for what he was trying to do. Hopefully, this channel, I've been rolling with you since like 2016, Roland, since I used to guest host your nationally syndicated radio show. So hopefully something else will come along. Streaming is the future. Okay. And lastly, Peacock losing $1.7 billion, man, I'm in the wrong business. I mean, you got $1.7 billion to lose?
Yeah, and again, and keep in mind, Nexstar flipped WGN America to launch News Nation, a cable network, and they're losing millions as well, but they're publicly traded, and they can afford that. When you have a sole investor, you have to protect every single dollar. Let me go to Kelly. Kelly?
First and foremost, thank you for this masterclass on, communication strategy and business management. I mean, it was phenomenal. And you were absolutely right in everything you said. But the moral of the story here really is to just minimize your expenses and maximize your revenue. And BNC did not do that very well, if at all. And this is what happens when you don't do that. You bite off more than you can chew, and you just you fail, in every sense of the word in this regard. Like they did have wonderful numbers when it came to the confirmation hearings this week.
It's too late.
But that's not enough to carry a news station.
Yep.
Like you said, like you need to really be cognizant of how you spend your money and stop comparing yourself to stations and networks that are decades in the making. Like CNN was not built in a day.
Nope.
CNN wasn't even built in 3 years.
Nope.
So you have to take that into consideration when you're building anything, let alone a network. They could have done so many other things that would have been far more impactful than what they did, and still would be here today had they done those things. They could have started off in YouTube. They could have started off in TikTok. They could have started not in the middle of a pandemic. And
actually, you know what? No. See, here's where again, I totally hear what you just said. And again, to my next guest, seriously, I'm sorry, but I got to say this here. I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you. We were averaging around $25,000 a month on YouTube in 2020, and then in 2019, 2020 hit January to April. Of 2020, we were averaging anywhere from 18,000 to 25,000. May hit, we hit 78,000. June hit, we hit 85,000. July hit, we hit 88,000. August hit, we hit 95,000. 90,000 in September, 90,000 in October, 95,000 in November, 103,000 in December. That was during COVID. I had cut my staff by 20%. I cut my salary by 75% on April 4th. 2020. I restored 10% of the staff salary in July. I restored the second 10% in August. During COVID, our numbers exploded. But again, and I did not lay off one person, but it was managing your expectations and managing your expenses that allowed me to restore everybody's salary 3 months later and allow us to be able to thrive. And the success financially in 2020 paved the way for us to do $3 million in revenue in 2021. 2021, after the election, our numbers went down on YouTube, but our CPM went up because our time spent watching went up. So just so people understand, and again, we understand when I call this a deconstruction and masterclass, some of y'all need to understand, because see, all my haters out there, I had to smack them with this here. In 2021, we did 93 million views on YouTube. 92.4 million, 13,677,000 watch hours, 1.27 billion impressions reach, views from the impressions 56.6 million. On Facebook, we have 313 million video views, 163 second views, 166.9 minute views. We reached 58.5 million people. Again, you have to manage your expectations, and where you want to be year 5, you can't do it in year 1. You got to wait for year 5. Final comment, Kelly, then I'm going to Matt, and then I go to break, then I'm going to my guest. Thank you for being patient. Go ahead.
No, I absolutely agree with you there. What I'm saying is, in your case, what you did was not trying to get on a cable news lineup. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what if they had done what you did in regards to a YouTube streaming format, then again, like I said, maybe the outcome would have been different and a lot more positive than it is now.
Yep.
When I say like start in the middle of a pandemic, they started in the middle of a pandemic when it was oversaturated in the cable space already.
Yeah.
So that was my point. But
should have been, if they had gone digital, it would have worked. Matt?
Exactly.
Matt?
I don't know much about media, and I think you've covered, and Kelly and Michael have covered it more than sufficiently. All I'll say is that I hope that this has an opportunity, rather, for the Black Star Network to expand even further, because a number of the people who were on the Black News channel were great personalities and continue to give stories to our people. So I'm hoping that you, being an astute businessman, can find a way to include some of those people in your network, which is doing a very necessary service of keeping our community abreast of what's going on.
Well, this is very simple, folks, and I'm just going to tell you right now, when I ask y'all to stand with us on this is important. Here's the reality. If the federal government is spending $1 billion a year on advertising, if Black-owned media gets 10% of that $1 billion, that's $100 billion. If we get 2% of that 10%, $100 million, it comes out to be $2 million. Now, you got some people out there who are saying, oh, there you go, get money from the federal government. Yeah, white media get money from the federal government on advertising. Why in the hell shouldn't we? Plus, it's taxpayer money, you simpletons. So yes, and if it's $322 billion that's being spent every year on advertising, Black-owned media should be getting 10% of $322 billion. How much is that? That is $32.2 billion. Do y'all understand that? That's $32.2 billion that Black-owned media would be getting. If we got 2% of the $32.2 billion, guess what? We could actually have a newsroom of 250 people that Black News Channel had, and will be in the black. That's why you have to understand, when I'm breaking this thing down to you, I need all of y'all standing with me and letting every company and ad agency know you better do right by Black-owned media, or we're gonna stop buying y'all products. Y'all, this is how we succeed. So don't sit here and cry today about Black News Channel not existing. It's a little hard to exist when you're not getting the money. And in the words of Frank Lucas, an American gangster played by Denzel, I'm gonna get that money. Support Black Star Network. Download the app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Y'all, we at about 34,000. We need to hit 100,000 downloads, because when I go to advertisers, that's also money. We got to get you to do the downloads. Also, support our Bring the Funk fan club. Y'all have heard me say this before. If 20,000 of our fans contribute on average $50 each, that's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. That's $1 million we will raise to be able to pay our staff, to add staff. I have literally 8 people waiting to be hired right now. We just launched 4 new shows in February on the Black Star Network. I got 4 new shows in development. I gotta hire more staff. You wanna send your check or money order, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037. I ain't got a billionaire giving me $50 million, but I guarantee you, if I had that $50 million, oh, shit. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And just understand, I'm a 1987 graduate of Jack Yates High School, Management School of Communications. This is what I went to school for. It's all I've done for 40 years. So don't act like I don't know what I'm talking about. Coming up, remember the story out of Orlando? Baby was injured when the father fired a warning shot when the cops busted in. They dropped the charges, but there's still some drama. We'll discuss that next, right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered, on the Black Star Network, Black owned and in the black.
Hi, everybody. This is Jonathan Nelson.
Hi, this is Cheryl Lee Ralph, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Okay. All right, folks, last month we told you about the story of a Florida father facing attempted murder charges for shooting at police officers during a late-night attempt to execute a search warrant. The good news, the state dropped all charges against Corey Marino Jr. this week, but his lawyers are still seeking justice for one-year-old Silent, who was injured in police custody. The police and his brother give different accounts of how the child was hurt. Joining us to update the case is Corey Marino Jr. from Florida and his attorney, James A. Bryant from Los Angeles. Gentlemen, glad to have both of you here. First and foremost, Corey, you got to feel good. They dropped the charges, thank goodness.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, you were sitting. I mean, look, you're lawful gun owner. You're in your house. You don't know who the hell's busting in your doors.
Right. Yes, sir. So, hey, I'm just happy that they dropped all charges, and I'm just really blessed.
But let's talk about when it comes to your son. So exactly what's going on there. And first of all, let people know again what happened so folks understand how your son was injured and what is his condition today.
Okay, so it was about 4-something in the morning. Police did a search warrant. I heard a bang at my door. I jumped up, grabbed my firearm. By the time I got midway in the hallway, I heard another bang and my door swung open. It was pitch black out the door. I fired a shot at the door. And once I heard it was the police department, I lowered my firearm. I was screaming that my gun is down, my gun is down. I walked outside, I put my hands up, and I got on the ground, and I was arrested after that. I don't have the specific details on what happened with my kids because I wasn't on the scene, and I didn't get any information on that. Their mom got all the information about that.
James, tell us about that.
What happened was, while Kylan and Kayon, the two children, were taken into custody by the officers, while both of the children were sitting in the back of the vehicle with one of the officers, another officer opens the door, and as he does that, he drops Kylan directly on his head, and it hits the cement. And he suffers some serious head injuries as a result of that fall.
So, and he suffered that, and he's still having issues?
Absolutely. As we kind of described before, he was a little over 1 year of age at that time. And so he's dealing with still odd behavioral issues. He was walking prior. He's no longer walking anymore. He has been seeking some treatment with a neurologist, and we believe that he may have unfortunately suffered a traumatic brain injury as a result. We're crossing our fingers to hopefully, figure out if this is something that will be something he can overcome. But he's really going through quite a bit at this point.
And so what have y'all filed a suit against the police department and the city?
Yeah, so we just completed the claim that we have to submit for the city. We're going to submit that to the city of Pensacola this Monday. And we're also looking at, beyond just state tort charges, we're looking at a federal 1983 civil rights violation for failure to render aid for Kylan when he was injured during this situation. I'm not sure if you recall, but the EMS had come. The police essentially told the EMS to leave, not to take him to the emergency room. They tried to play it as if he had barely suffered any injuries. When Ms. Dixon appears to pick up her child, she recognizes that he's unrecognizable. And when she says she needs to take him to the emergency room, they tried to dissuade her from doing that as well. And so they failed to render aid to this child, and we plan on holding whomever failed to assist this child accountable.
Corey, how are y'all, what is your plan of action for your son?
You're talking about for the claim?
In terms of monitoring him, in terms of making sure that he's getting the top medical care and for what has happened.
Oh, okay. Mom is monitoring him throughout the day. throughout the night. We take turns on monitoring him to make sure that he's cooperating the right way. You know, he wants to be up under us at all times. He don't want to be nowhere away from us. So he clings on to us more than he has.
Indeed, I know you're sitting there with your pastor as well, so glad that he is offering support in this. James, anything else?
Yeah, we just want to, first of all, thank you for having us on the show and following up. I mean, this is it is not a typical situation that the state attorney will drop charges like this, especially for a black man, and he is in Pensacola, but we want to thank the state attorney for doing their due diligence on this, but we're going to continue to get justice. And believe me, Roland, I think there's a lot more stuff going to be coming out of Pensacola in the near future, so just stand by.
Last thing, Corey, you lost your job from the credit union. What's up with that? Did they give your job back? What's going on there?
Yes, sir. They reinstated me.
Oh, they reinstated you. They apologize to you?
No, they really didn't apologize, but they...
Well, they did. They apologized. They apologized. They reinstated him. They gave him full back pay pending the... But they haven't spoken to him directly, but they did speak with me, and they profusely apologized.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure we're going to be rolling up on the credit union.
This guy, Navy Federal Credit Union did the right thing. And I appreciate them for taking care of this young man. They kept his benefits, and he's still there, brother.
Very wise, because we will put the Roro-mobile on the road. Gentlemen, I appreciate it. Thank you so very much, and we'll be praying for your son.
All right, thank you.
All right, folks, got to go to break. We come back. Education Matters segment, talking about educational inequities. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. Now, did you ever want to do a soap opera?
I did it before, Another World. I did it years ago. With Joe Morton, Morgan Freeman, called Another World. It's defunct now, but that's how I started in TV. My first job. My very first TV job.
Joe Morton and Morgan Freeman were on a soap opera?
Together. Yes, I know. Oh, I loved it. I played a prostitute. I was real raw. My name is Lily Mason. I was a hoe on Tuesday, and then I owned the town 2 weeks later. That's how they do you.
Right, that's how soap opera.
You evolve. Yeah.
Right.
So now I'm on this, but I'm rich right from Jump Street. So I'm loving it.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland. Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
It's Kiara Sheard.
Hey, I'm Taj.
I'm Coco.
And I'm Lily. And we're SWV.
What's up, y'all? It's Ryan Destiny, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Black teachers account for less than 10% of the teaching workforce. Studies have shown that black students excel and are more likely to graduate when educated by black teachers. Joining us now in this School Choice is the Black Choice Education Matters segment is the Center for Black Educator Development. They are closing the educational inequity gap by training and recruiting diverse teachers. They also mentor youth and those interested and have a career in teaching. Sharif El-Mekki, Sharif El-Mekki, founder and chief executive officer of the Center for Black Educator Development, joins us from Philadelphia. So how are you doing it? And how are you targeting them? How are you training them to be successful?
Yeah, we basically have a model
for high school students, college youth to engage in activism. And we look at teaching as activism. We look at teaching Black children well as the purest form of activism. And we give them the opportunity to have a clinical experience teaching first, second, and third graders literacy, positive racial identity development, and being coached by our staff. Our high school students came up with a hashtag, We Need Black Teachers, as a campaign to let people know this is what they believe in, this is what they think. They see the connection between educational justice and racial justice, and they are looking to lead classrooms. And so we use the Freedom School model and provide opportunities for this clinical experience, as well as teacher academies within high schools so students can take an elective that teaches them about the Black pedagogical frameworks, Black historical lens, and the massive contributions of Black educators.
And you said the Freedom School model. For folks who have no idea about that, explain that.
So the Freedom School model, the Freedom School is based on the SNCC movement, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Charlie Cobb wrote a letter to the leadership of SNCC and said, hey, while we are getting parents and grandparents registered to vote, what about their children and grandchildren? He saw the racism that was inherent in these Mississippi schools. And as part of the Freedom Summer, they started Freedom Schools. Marion Wright Edelman and the Children's Defense Fund built on that model in the 90s, Philadelphia Freedom Schools. And we're using that same model, make it a teacher apprenticeship program where students, Black high school and college youth, participate in paid apprenticeships to teach and learn about teaching, to learn about the Black pedagogical framework and the Black historical lens. And we coach them, we mentor them. And last year we had 99 Black teacher apprentices across 14 states. We have an in-person as well as a virtual model. 14 states, 99 Black teacher apprentices. And as of 2019, we have 24 Black youth who've come through our program who are now within schools, working in schools as teacher residents or teachers of record. And so we are very proud about this Black teacher pipeline that we are building that is national. It is a model that is sustainable, highly effective, and predictable.
How many have y'all placed?
24 so far.
Got it. All right, let's go to our panel here. Let's start with Kelly.
Hi, thank you for being here. I did not realize the disparity of Black teachers in classrooms until I talked to friends who were not from the DMV area. I was born and raised here I was born in Baltimore, raised in DC, so I grew up in DC, and I've had at least one Black teacher in every single grade level that I've ever had. And I did not realize the impact of that until I met people who did not have the impact of that. So could you explain to those of us who take Black teachers for granted exactly what it means to have a Black teacher in the classroom from the time you get into school at 3, 4, 5 years old to the time you get into college?
Well, we know short term that Black students that have a Black teacher have a higher sense of belongingness, better grades, better attendance, better test scores. They see themselves within the curriculum. They're able to see the connection between real world applications and what's being taught. Dr. Constance Lindsay and her colleagues showed that long term, over 100,000 of students across multiple states, they saw that a Black student with a single Black teacher, it was up to 39% less likely to drop out and up to 29% more likely to go to college. So what we know, and what we've known for a long time, while we're talking about it more today, Caroline LeCount was demanding more Black educators in the 1800s here in Philadelphia. The 1967 Black student walkout in Philadelphia, where Frank Rizzo sicked his goons on these Black youth. One of their demands was more Black teachers because they knew about the positive racial identity development, the understanding and seeing themselves within the curriculum was absolutely critical for their success. They saw Black teachers have higher expectations as well as higher support, and they see this as a community. They see themselves within these students, and they know the difference between the job and the actual work. Many educator prep programs prepare people to work in the systems. Often Black teachers know how to work in communities, and that is a very big difference in mindset.
Michael.
All right, Brother Sharif, thanks for coming on today, sharing this information with us. With your teacher apprenticeships, is it one training, one type of course for all different subjects that teachers may teach, or is it tailored to specific subjects they may teach? Can you explain that some?
Absolutely. So we landed on Black literacy. We landed on what could a ninth grader in high school teach a first grader? Do you teach ST before TH? Do you teach RH before, LE? Like, we really used the research, Dr. Nell Duke, as well as others, Dr. Tatum. What could high school and college Black apprentices learn about literacy and then teach to first, second, and third graders? They're avoiding the summer slide, understanding literacy is the foundation for any subject they may teach in the future.
Right.
But then also the positive racial identity development. What is it that ensures that these Black children, as well as the Black youth who are serving as apprentices, understand about the legacy, about their impact, about their contributions? Many educators who are trained to work with our children through traditional models learn about white educational theorists and white behavior theorists. They learn about Horace Mann, John Dewey, B.F. Skinner, Piaget, people who have theories that didn't even include Black youth. But suppose we have Black youth who learn about Dr. Carter G. Woodson and Nannie Helen Burroughs and Mary McLeod Bethune and Lucy Craft Laney and what they thought about teaching and learning in our communities. So literacy, positive racial identity development, and then some kind of educational activism activity. But we grounded it in literacy.
Okay, thank you.
Matt?
Thanks for coming on, Brother Sharif, and sharing the program. I'm particularly interested in, I have two questions, basically.
Sure.
One, how you develop that cultural pedagogy, because I think that's incredibly important. And the second question is, for college students who are coming out, who are going to teach, what have you done to incentivize them joining the program rather than Teach for America, where we know there's a bunch of complaints about how people go and get a master's degree, don't invest in the community, and just leave and use it as kind of a revolving door? What, if anything, have you done to get that contingent of teachers to make sure they invest in the community and invest in the students' outcomes?
We've been very fortunate to engage with college youth who are actually from the community. So in person, we are in Philadelphia, Camden, and in this summer, we'll be in Detroit. And then virtually, as I mentioned, it'll be 14 states this past summer. The Black college students who engage us are interested in leading classrooms. They're interested in the connection between activism and teaching, the connection between educational justice and racial justice. Some of them said, like, you know what, I had a negative experience in school. And we say, consider becoming the teacher that you wish you had and knew you needed. Consider becoming the vanguards, leading a classroom to support your younger brother, younger sister, your younger community member. And these, you know what, brother, it's been absolutely amazing to see the activism. But the activism in youth is not new, right? We knew the SNCC, Black Panther Party, and so many other movements were grounded in the youth. And we're just tapping into that activism, that sense of justice, and tying it into the purest form of activism, which is teaching Black children well. So that opportunity that our students have been involved in has been really profound. We have 4 young men, for example, that are our inaugural Black Teacher Pipeline Fellows. This is a partnership with the United Negro College Fund. These young men have gone through our program. They're in college now at Morehouse, Westchester, College of Worcester, Howard University. And they've saying, I'm coming back to Philadelphia to teach, to lead classrooms. And in partnership with UNCF, we're providing them with last dollar scholarships, as well as retention stipends once they start teaching for their first 4 years of teaching. But what we're doing is building a community. And these students are from these communities, and what they're vowing is to return, give back, and lead. And as Mary Church Terrell used to say, educators lift as they climb, and that's what these college youth are intent on doing.
All right, Sharif, we appreciate it. If folks want to get more information, where do they go?
www.thecenterblacked.org, and we're on all the social media platforms. #WeNeedBlackTeachers.
All right, then. And we do need black teachers. We appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right, folks. That is it for us, folks. Let me thank Kelly, Matt, and Michael for joining us on this Friday. I also want to thank the folks who have been sending me, folks have already been joining our Bring the Funk fan club as we were live. Anthony Love joined us, Brashana Hill, Samato Dabney, Stephanie Carradine, Thomas Drew Jr., DKP24, Jasmine Breedlove, Terry Ann Ray, Patricia Briggs, Larnell Farmer, Joan Warren, Letitia Cright, let's see here, Sharon Avett, Charlie Stokes, Clinton Holmes, Quentin Green, Tommy Williams. I want to thank all of you. I'm leaving out one person. Hold up. Let's see right here. On Zell, Etha Dawson, and also Adrian Hood. Thank you so very much. As well, folks. Please, we want you to support. Oh, I left out one. Let's see here. Gordon Lucas and Ingrid Montgomery just came in, and then Venmo Renee Sumby. So, folks, I appreciate it. Again, when y'all support what we do, it makes it possible for us to do what we do. If y'all go to the YouTube channel or go to Black Star Network, y'all see this facility. I'm transparent. This is $15,500 a month, this location right here. That's what this costs. Okay? I was just checking our P&L statement for February. Our monthly expenses, listen to me carefully, our monthly expenses for Roland Martin Unfiltered is $96,000 a month. $96,000 a month. So when I say your support is huge, when I just sat there yesterday and had to open 60 envelopes, and it was about a total of $10,000 in money orders and checks, trust me, that's huge for us. It pays staff, it pays light bill, it pays gas, it pays all the different things. And so when you support us, trust me, it matters. Again, 2020, man, y'all came strong. $672,000 y'all gave in 2020. Y'all came stronger in 2021 with $827,000. We are hoping we can hit our goal of $1 million from our fan base in 2022. Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Of course, the P.O. Box for a check or money order is P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037. And I'm telling y'all, I need y'all to understand, I am working hard to go working with Congressman Hank Johnson to go after this federal advertising money. I'm not apologizing to anybody. All you fake new so-called black media people want to run y'all mouth, talk about, oh, they getting government money. Guess what? That's our money, taxpayer money. So first of all, I'm trying to figure out how in the hell y'all sitting there hollering about reparations, but then you're going to get mad with somebody black trying to actually get advertising money from the federal government. Where in the hell your reparations going to come from? See how dumb some folks don't even think? So when we're fighting for black-owned companies to get federal contracts, that's taxpayer dollar. Billions of dollars. Do y'all understand the federal government is going to spend $660 billion on infrastructure as a result of the infrastructure bill that was passed? Why in the hell shouldn't black-owned companies get a portion of that $660 billion? Some of y'all are stuck on stupid when it comes to understanding the business. That's why I don't even listen to some of y'all when y'all run y'all mouth. But I'm telling y'all right now, you need to understand what we're trying to do, what we're trying to build, how we're trying to go, and those dollars are important. So when we call companies out, we need y'all to stand with us because we got to be able to build and grow this thing in a serious and unique way. Folks, I appreciate it. We scroll all those people who have already given. Please, you want your name on that list? Please contribute. Guys, I'm going to see y'all on Monday.